why is that so cheesy? Because it's Wednesday night, fools. All right. What does that mean? It means a lot to me and a lot to True Podcast, because True Podcast be in the house trying to bring y'all everything that we can that's real. We just try to keep the real that's out. All right, so let's go around the table and let's kick it with the crew. Let's get started. Miggity Mac.
What up, doe?
What's the deal with you, baby?
Shit. I just woke up at 8:45, but I made it.
Look who
I
made
took a nap.
Yay. How was the nap?
The nap was wonderful. I will be having another trip around the sun next week, so I'll be hitting the big none of your business.
Yes.
You know, I'm up there.
It's deserved. You deserve it. You need it.
I'm up there.
How was your week?
My week was awesome.
Okay.
So far.
Anything significant?
Not really.
Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
Just doing how you usually do?
Just a regular rigmarole.
Yeah.
Regular.
In other words, that was awesome, because, Mac, we having some awesome things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Power to Mac. And over here, we got the lovely G in the house. What's up, G?
Miss G in the building.
How was your week? And
My week it's usually hectic, but this week it was kind of like just laid back. You know, I think I'm still basking from Thanksgiving.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be keeping up with you. I'll be like, look at this. Go ahead, girl.
I be trying.
Okay. I love your energy.
Thank you. I love y'all. Y'all my peeps.
That's right. And that's why we do it. Y'all my partners.
I gotta bring one of my little flyers in. I just want to put it out there. I do teach young people how to cut hair. If you or your child wants to learn how to cut hair, DM me, get at me. We're starting a new session in mid-January, so you have plenty of time. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. And for myself, let's see. Oh, and she won't let me cut hair. I gotta take the course too. I'll be trying to go over there like, hey, let me have some clients. Nah. I really enjoyed Thanksgiving. And not because of it's a meal and things like that and it's a holiday. It had a lot of more significance this time around. This was Mac's first time having Thanksgiving dinner with me. Her and her son Donovan, my nephew Donovan, and I was so thankful. A few of my other people's, MJ, me and Robin, we put it together, and it was like really just like intimate. You know what I'm saying? But it meant a lot to me, because y'all know how the enemy be working, right? And it could have been really a bad season, bad time for me, because it was like stuff was just coming out of nowhere, just at every angle. And then that moment, the ones that was just there, you know what I'm saying, with me. You know what I'm saying? Like the energy, you know what I'm saying? Like I needed that and I fed off of them, and it just turned out like just so great to where I think it would not have if I didn't have those that was there with me. So I thank you and my nephew for coming over. I do. Me and Robin, thank y'all how we put it down. My bro Nard and MJ and y'all, thank y'all. Yeah. So that was a highlight of my week. All right. So we are gonna get off. Actually, let's talk about something else. The case has been the situation that's been going on with these kids that was on the porch. You helped me have a different perspective, and I love it about you, because sometimes, like you said, we do go off the first thing, first emotion and personal emotion and everything else. And I actually was one of those ones that got caught up in that first personal emotion when it was and how it was brought to me, right? And so I'm speaking about the two teenage boys that were on the porch, and it was labeled as the parents made these kids had these kids. The parents had these kids sleeping on the porch. So it was brought to me this way. A young lady was talking to me. She's like, "Oh my God, you heard about these kids?" And I'm like, what? Cause I instantly, what's going on? She was like, it's all over social media. She was like, the parents making them sleep on the porch. They've been sleeping out there for months now. And instantly, I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? How dare? Where? Who are they? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't believe they making their kids go on the porch. Like something got to be done, and who on top of it? And so there it is. That's how things get started, right? That's the rumors, everything, right?
The whole narrative was set before anybody, I guess, was really talked to.
Exactly.
But
So then as I see people sending stuff and I see only certain clips with people just talking and haven't really spoke to the parents and things like that. And they're like, yeah, neighbors been calling CPS and X, Y, and Z, whatever they saying to them kids. So now it's looking like law enforcement is not doing their job, you know what I'm saying, and all type of stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God. So here I'm still going for that. Talk to my best friend. I talked to one other person, talked to best friend. Best friend was like, but nobody really talked about everything. So I'm like, give me some more insight. And please, Max, share that.
well, I mean, I just, I don't know anything personally.
Right.
I didn't pull up to the house. I haven't talked to the kids. I haven't talked to the parents. What I have done was sit back and just watch this thing unfold.
Right,
And I didn't rush to judgment when I heard it.
right.
I think under any circumstances, a child sleeping on the porch is not healthy.
Not at all.
But I think based on some information that came out via social media, so how credible it is, I don't know. But, I have a teenage son.
Yeah.
And they can be extra. And I would never put him on the porch, and if he told me he was sleeping on the porch, it wouldn't go down like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we have to really wait to hear everything, because things that are coming out are suggesting that the boys were unruly. They done beat up the granddaddy, went over there and tore up his house. They were tearing up the house they were living in. The older boy was choosing to sleep out there, and the younger boy was following. These are all the different various things that I've heard. Does that mean that they should have been sleeping on the porch? Absolutely not.
Right.
But the narrative really needs to wait to unfold with details, in my opinion. I'm glad that people got involved and
Yes.
that, they are somewhere safe at other relatives' house. I'm glad about that. That's the power of social media. You can say all you want to on CPS hotline.
Oh, baby, the cousins
You know
gonna
what I'm
get you
saying?
together.
And people
Okay.
on the block might say this or that, but once it hits airways and the news gets involved, now there's move to action, right?
The only thing that bothers me is that the reports say that they have been out there since August.
Yep.
July.
Well, see,
Yeah.
that's even worse.
Yeah. So they were out there when it was hot. They were out there when it was cold. So there's conflicting stories about whether or not they were forced to be out there or whether or not that was the older boy's decision and the younger boy decided to sleep out there with him. Those are conflicting stories that I've heard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, either way it goes, nobody should be sleeping on the porch in 20-degree weather.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you saw on some of the video, the older boy walked right past the police, went right up to that porch, started making his little bed and getting his little stuff together like, this is my norm.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't bother him. Even when the first reporter pulled up on him, was offering heat and food and transportation and help, he said, I'm good. You know what I'm
Mental
saying?
health matters, though.
It really does. And that's also something that I heard, that there was some mental challenges going on with the older boy. But who knows? Nobody knows all the details, but everybody has an opinion. I just feel that I'm glad they're safe, and that's the power of social media.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, Meg. We have a very hot and touchy topic tonight. Could you fill us in on what we discussing?
Well, tonight's topic is our viewer's choice topic. A friend of mine, Mari Hall, reached out and asked that we do a show featuring missing children of color and some of the discrepancies that we face when we report our children missing. So basically, when a child goes missing in the United States, you get this Amber Alert, or if they're abducted, let me be clear,
Right.
because missing doesn't get you an Amber Alert.
Yeah.
Abducted does, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when a child is abducted, this Amber Alert goes out, the whole world is on alert, and everybody's hoping and praying that this child is found safe. But for too many of black children, the hope is kind of diminished by a system that doesn't really give them the urgency and attention they deserve, right? There are people who say that white or Hispanic children get way more press than our African American children, or why are there fewer Amber Alerts, less police involvement, or a noticeable absence rather of public outcry when our children goes missing? Does it have anything to do with public perception, stereotypes, and all that type of stuff? So we're going to get into some of the racial disparities on how missing children are reported, searched for, and ultimately treated. We're also going to talk about how to keep authorities engaged so that our missing children's cases do not go cold or end up in their demise, right? Getting back to Mari, she was close to a story that took place in Grand Rapids. I want to put this young man's picture up, Mr. Cortez McConnell Jr. We offer our condolences to his family. May he rest in peace. Forever 16. This is the story of a young man who went missing for about a month. He went missing late October after a foot chase involving Grand Rapids police and two of his other friends. So they were allegedly riding in a stolen vehicle, which was parked near some McDonald's or something. Two of his friends were apprehended, but you know, we in this community, we really don't want to give up nobody, right? So they were like, was anybody else in the car? And they were hesitant to say so, but ultimately ended up saying there was a third person, right? And so the police elected not to search for that third person, even though the boys told them there was a third person. They either didn't believe him, felt like they didn't have enough proof to justify going out and searching for a third person. So the third person was Cortez, and he was obviously running along with the other boys away from the police. So the Cortez family reported him missing, and you know, they started their own search efforts, right? And as they were searching for their son, that's when the police made the connection that, oh, that was the third person we was looking for.
Right.
This missing young man, right? So, unfortunately, 20 days after he was officially deemed missing, they found his body in a nearby swampy, wooded area. Not far from where they took off running. The family is really outraged because several reasons. One, there's no footage of anything. There's no footage of the traffic encounter. There's no footage of the foot chase. Or I'm not going to say there's no footage. No footage has been released.
Released.
And so there's this issue of transparency. They felt that there was no urgency to search for him. Even though they were told that there was a third person, they felt that had they searched for him, then he would have been found sooner. Ultimately, the autopsy for Cortez indicated that he died of an accidental drowning. So in my head, I'm just imagining, and I really don't want to imagine, but you know, you could be running in an area you're not familiar with, trip up, but if you were searching for him that day, the likelihood of you finding him. And, you know, the family just feels that if there was more of an effort to find him, that perhaps this would have not been the outcome.
Yeah.
And so what I want to ask y'all is, why do you think they did not immediately go out and search for him? Do you think it's because, oh, you know, he's a criminal, or he's a perceived criminal, it's not important, his life doesn't matter? Or did we not really believe these kids that there was? Why would somebody say there's a third person if there wasn't?
Exactly. And unfortunately, I'm glad you asked that question. Why did they not go and look? And doing my research, I found that when it comes to, and we're not taking away from no race, you know what I'm saying, no children, you know what I'm saying, missing. But unfortunately, in the research itself, it shows that our black babies really don't be standing a chance when it comes to these cases. And they say that off rip, really. When you mention a black child missing, they will first go into, oh, it's probably a runaway. It's probably a runaway. They probably trouble, things like that. So they don't really take, when it comes to our black children, really take it that serious. And it's several other things or reasons what they said is reasons. There's no reason why you don't go out there and look for any child.
No, I'm talking about this particular boy, like in this particular case.
I don't
Like,
think
we
they
didn't-
believe the other two kids that said it was a third person.
But
I think they do. I think it's something more.
Might have been close to Quentin getting ready to get off
something else deeper than
because
happened.
they don't care.
Something else deeper than happened with that baby. I think they knew. I think when the kids said that, no, something ain't no telling them what
Had already transpired.
You know, nothing is released. You know, they feel like not going to go look for him. What hand do they have in it? I'm just saying.
I think if the police officer, first of all, they have a duty to protect, right? So if they're telling you that there was a third person in the car, then you should do your due diligence to go look for that third person the same way because they apprehended one and then it took them a little bit more time to apprehend the second. Why not put a little bit more energy and time into looking and apprehending the third? I would rather him be in jail than be dead.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And then if I was caught in a car and I'm running from the police and they catch up to me, my first mind is to not tell them about somebody else because there's this whole no snitching policy in the streets, right? Mm-hmm. So after much interrogation or whatever, then they'd say, well, yeah, there was a third person, but it was disregarded. And I think that's what the family is feeling like. Why wouldn't you go look for him? Why wouldn't you? And by the time they did on November 22nd, they had the canines, the helicopters, and now you got all this stuff looking for him when you had that stuff the day.
Too late.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, why not pursue this young boy?
Yeah, I think they need to be investigated.
I'm
Because
really,
body cam is supposed to be activated in a pursuit, period.
They say they're going to release footage, but as of now, I don't know if there's anybody out here listening to this case and is familiar with it. But as of today, I hadn't seen any release of any type of body cam or anything. Even the report of the stolen vehicle, like nothing is coming out other than these, the boys' reports versus the police officer's report. So I think it's a real tragedy. And I really don't care what the person does that was still a kid. Just like a lot of people are saying with the boys on the porch. I don't care what they did. They still kids, right? He's still a kid.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I think he should have been pursued as such and treated as such. And it should not have taken a month to find him near where he was running.
That's right.
If you had done your job just as you did with the first two.
That's right. Like I said, it sounds fishy to me.
So Cortez McConnell's life mattered, and unfortunately, this is one of those missing cases that did not end as prayed upon or prayed about. So, once again, I offer condolences to his family.
Rest in peace.
Ms. G, go into it a little bit about the disparities and what the disparities are and why there's a difference in how children of color being missing are treated differently versus white and Hispanic children.
Okay, so I did my homework.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to read this real quick. In 2023, there were reported cases of missing white children, more cases of missing white children than missing black children in the United States. 313,000 white children reported cases, 193 black children. However, black children are not represented in missing person cases, and that there are several factors that contribute to this. Lack of media coverage, strict criteria for Amber Alert, and I'm going to get on that. Always being labeled as a runaway, and they know that time is critical. The longer it takes authorities to find a child, the greater the chance is that they will not be found alive. Racial disparity. Black children make up 33% of missing children cases, but a number of those cases remain unsolved within 6 months. Historical racial disparity. Black children have made up 57% of missing person cases. Nearly 40% of these missing person cases turn up as the black kids are found unalive.
47%?
47%. Yes, ma'am. So what it is for me, the criteria of the Amber Alert just makes me sick.
Hold on, can you put that up? We have a little chart with the criteria.
That's just what I got too.
Yeah.
So law enforcement must have a reasonable belief that the child has been abducted.
Abducted.
Police must believe the child is in serious danger of being physically harmed or killed. There must be enough descriptive information about the child, the abduction, the suspect, or the suspect's vehicle. The abducted child's information must be entered into the National Crime Information Center system, and Amber plans should always require confirmation by law enforcement of an abduction before issuing an alert. Now, in this case, like in most cases, black people, I'm gonna say people of color, we don't get the press coverage that our other counterparts do that have different paint jobs, and it's because they're suburbanites and not urban kids. Now, when Elizabeth Smart went missing in 2002, she was 14 years old. They kept her in the forefront. What's his name? John Walsh. Unsolved Mysteries. They kept her on Dateline. They kept her in the press. She was found 40 miles away from where she lived.
Right.
They still haven't found Naziah on the east side of Detroit. To me, it seems like it's a cold case.
And it took a lot of pressure from social media press, also from her family. It seemed like, even with the Cortez story, it seemed like the families have to really push to get attention brought to missing children of color. Because, like you said, it's to perceive that they're runaways, you know? Put that clip up of Gabrielle Union. Listen to this real quick. It's real brief.
71,000 black girls under 17 went missing in 2021. And they were identified as runaways. 9 out of 10 were identified as runaways. If you're identified as a runaway, no Amber Alert, no law enforcement attention, nothing.
So why do you think they look at our kids as runaways versus being missing? Is it because of stereotypes, or that's just the way of life for black people? The kids run away. That's just part of the plight.
Well, let's just be frank. The system was never set up for us. It was always against us from the beginning of time. It was set up against us. So they don't listen. I work in the precinct, and when I tell you, I looked on the wall when you were texting, and I looked on the wall. There were more Caucasian kids on that wall than there were black kids. So when I started doing statistics and I sat down at the computer, I was like, well, why aren't the black kids on the wall? And they literally told me, oh, we don't have enough room on the board.
This was at the precinct?
I'm not going to say which.
Right.
And what's also
Y'all know where I work at.
what's also disturbing is they also say in the DNA database, I found that the children of color have a smaller footprint of DNA in the database. So you're right, like we're not even we're not even important. And unfortunately, also found that we only get 7% of media coverage, almost period. People and children of color, 7% of media coverage for us.
Do you think it's because they think our black kids are criminals or drug affiliated or gang affiliated that it's not worth looking for them because they choose to be out there?
When I reported my son missing, right? The first thing they asked me was, did you all have a fight? Did you all have an argument? Yeah, we had an argument. Oh, well, then that's why he's gone.
Right.
that
was the extent of the questioning.
and that's why he's gone. Well, okay, and it literally, their little notepads is like this. It was maybe, I'm gonna give him 5 lines, and that was it. And that was just a description of my son.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
even looking for him.
No.
So, how long did it take for you to find your son? And then was there any follow-up?
I found my son at the trap house and beat him out the trap.
There you go.
I know that's right.
There you go. Yay.
Fish him out. And that's what we got to do. We got to be vigilant. If they won't do it, we got to do it.
That's right.
And then, it goes back to, it's this with the missing child.
Right.
And then it goes back to corporal punishment. Well, I'm going to whoop him. Oh, well, then we going to arrest you for whooping him, boy. How you want me to get my child in line? Because you going to say he a runaway.
Right.
And it's just really disparaging.
Let's go back to these teenage boys on the porch, right? Would you rather this boy just run away from home or just not sleep in the house?
For me, I watched the whole video footage.
Mm-hmm.
And the neighbors, so I'm just going to say the neighborhood failed them. Because if they've been out there since July, y'all knew since July.
They've been calling CPS. CPS ain't been doing nothing. The police done been out there. Ain't nothing been done.
Now, I think everybody need to be fast.
So which tells me there's something more to this story. Like, ain't no way. First of all, let's think about us as a people, right? Let's think about us as a people. We don't put our stuff on the front porch. We hide our stuff in the back room up under the rug in the closet. Mm-hmm. If we was going to abuse our kids, we wouldn't do it on the front porch for the world to see.
Absolutely.
Especially not a pastor and a teacher.
Right.
So it's so much more to this story that I think is still going to come out, and I'm just going to sit on the wall and listen and watch and wait. I'm not saying in either situation that, they should have been out there for any reason, but it's more to the story. That's all I could say. But I would rather my child decide to sleep in the garage than run away and be in the streets and I can't find her.
Absolutely. That's why I ran away to the garage.
What I'm saying? And I can't drag his 6 foot, 280-pound self and make him stay in the house. What I'm going to do, lock him up, then you're going to be getting me for abuse and neglect and all that type of stuff. Like he ain't going to school, he can't leave the house type. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole dynamic that you really have to think of that happens within families behind closed doors.
Is that when I saw him, I'm like, oh, the kid fresh to death. I mean, and they get 4.0s and stuff. I'm like, okay, what?
They were still going to school. They were still going to their sporting events. They were still getting good grades. Both of them, are honor students. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that negates anything or any responsibility of the parent. I don't know what the parental responsibility is in this case. I don't know. I can't judge it. Right. But I would rather my son be home than in the streets. Absolutely. Missing, because who gonna look for him?
Absolutely.
I see that.
And he clearly didn't want to go in the house.
No, the neighbors said that they talked to them and they
he doesn't want to. They wanted to stay out there.
But as a child,
but what are they? What are they? You don't get that option, right? But what do you do? Right. Abuse them to move to bring them back in the house, drag them by their feet and hands to where they screaming and fighting, and then you got a whole nother set of police at your house. Parents have been limited in parenting, and we really have to address that.
Yeah.
The society and all this CPS. Where the hell was CPS when we was kids?
Right.
Well, my mom was a cop, so I guess that did away with all that. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, it's so prevalent now to where you got to be careful about how you discipline your children, how you handle them physically.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So what? I'm going to pull you in the house and keep you locked in the house. You don't go to school. You don't go to church. You don't go to nowhere. And now everybody worried about your safety. We got a well check because you locked up in the closet. You know, what we supposed to do as parents.
Right. That's right.
I don't know. It's no excuse. Either way it go.
It's not.
It's wrong.
Yes.
Either way it go.
Well, can I do
if
this?
they wanted to be there or was made to be there.
So if you have any information on a missing or exploited child of color, we need you to call 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678.
That's right. Thank you.
There's also a website.
It's
That's the phone number. The website is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, www.missingkids.org. And if you've seen a missing child or feel like you had a sighting, please reach out to your local law enforcement or call the hotline.
Yes. We also have the Black and Missing Foundation here in Michigan, BAMF, and we also have Operation Michigan Safe Kid. So look those up as well.
Yeah, there's the website blackandmissing.com. It has so much information about missing children of color. But go ahead, you have some statistics for us?
Oh, yeah. And again, I know we were talking about our missing colored children, and this is not to take away from any child missing. I want them all back, all right? Unfortunately, here in Michigan, as of 2023, the number went from 425. It was a count in 2023 to 2024, 600. Unfortunately, as I looked into the BAMF, 55 cases are active. 55 are active. So we still have that huge number that's unsolved. And what's even more devastating, of course, that unfortunately the children of color, most of them are the cold cases. Most of them are cold cases, and it seems like they haven't got a lot of coverage, much needed coverage and attention.
Isn't this a startling statistic? 40% of missing children are African American.
Yeah.
And only
so
African Americans only make up 13% of the population.
That's right.
Yep.
But we 40% of the missing kids.
Yes, we are. And they also said most children, when reported missing, are usually found within days. That is not the case with colored children. I mean, it broke my heart as I really started to go into these databases. I really did today. I was just looking at different things. I'm looking at all these cases, and it just broke my heart. And I'm like, wow. Like, they got the pictures and everything, but what in the hell are y'all doing? Why are they cold cases? And, and they also, with that, saying that you supposed to, they call and they say, oh, it hasn't been 24 hours. That's some bullshit. I want to let y'all know that. Because checking into with the Michigan State Police and actually how it goes, you are to report whenever the moment you think that your child is missing, and they are supposed to act upon it immediately. It's not no 24 hours. Don't believe that bullshit.
Is there age limitation
18.
on that?
18.
18?
Has to be age 18 and under for them to issue an Amber Alert.
Yep.
But see, we have to be careful with this Amber Alert and the word missing. Just because your child ain't home, that's not going to produce an Amber Alert.
No,
So
has to be abduction.
It has to be an abduction. They have to be in danger, and usually it's smaller children, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
In California, with these alerts, California actually, a law was passed. And so now they have come with, and this was January 1st, they come with now for children of color, it's called the Ebony Alert. It's actually for children and
I
women.
saw that. Yeah.
They came into effect as far January 1st.
It's to bring more awareness to the fact that there is a great number. What was it? 162,000 missing Black children in 2023.
2023.
Yeah.
Yes, all over. And like so let's go back to the ones as far as Michigan, the ones that have been found, solved. And I'm talking back even some years. I'm looking at it from 6 years ago.
Is it
and up until now.
2017 to 2023, right?
Yep. 100. And
What?
most of them are solved. 100. And we are the majority of not being solved. And it's sad because
Why do you think that is, though?
for one, misrepresentation. First, don't say racial bias. That's exactly what it is.
Yep.
I agree with what you said earlier. That's exactly what the fuck it is. It's racial bias. So that impacts the risk assessments and also the safeguard responses. Because it's like, oh, another Black kid. I wonder what the hell they into. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what's the story? Like you said, even when you made the phone call about your son, did y'all get into it? Did y'all have altercation? That's just
And they
what
told
it
me,
is.
oh, he'll turn up.
You understand?
But the 1 out of 9,
Yeah.
1 out of 9 are considered runaways.
Yeah.
And that just gets them off the book, no resources put towards finding them. or anything. And the other probably 8 are perceived to be gangbangers or drug dealers or kids that just, are abhorrent. You know what I mean?
You can also, guys, look into the Charlie. If you want to look up even deeper into cold cases, especially long, drawn-out cold cases with missing children, you can also look into the Charlie Project. It's a public database, and you can also check into that as well as far as these cold cases with these kids. I mean, it's very disturbing. I was looking at so many, and I'm just like, oh, and God, please put some wings on me and let me go and find everybody and save them.
Well, see, as black kids, we didn't run away when we was little.
Nope.
You took that and went upstairs and screamed in the pillow.
And when I ran away, it was to grandma's house.
Right, it was always to somebody else's house.
Right.
'Cause I sure packed my little garbage bag and got the fuck up.
Oh, I went down the street to one of my friend's house.
But you knew when the street lights came on to have your butt back home.
Yeah, and I'm telling my friend's mom, like, please don't tell my mom over here. I ran away. Of course, she went back there and got on the phone. And
Your daughter over here, I'm about to feed her and send her home.
Yeah.
I filled me up a little black garbage bag, called my little friend down the street that had a car. He took me over to my daddy's house. I promise. About 20 minutes later, ring, ring. Your mama on her way. I'm like, oh, I didn't even tell her I was here. How she find me that fast?
Neighbors done ratted you out.
I could have been a missing child. Like, just let me hide out for a minute. But that's not funny. That's
You know
not
what? And although we're talking about Michigan, but also I was just looking at like all over and stuff. Texas is like number one as far as missing kids. They have the most missing kids out of any state there is. And it's like the same thing, but still everywhere it's at. And we only represent, like you said, 13%, our children, 13% of the population. But yet,
we 40% representation.
40%, right. So we are the majority in not being checked upon.
All right, so how can we change that?
Well, for one, I was looking and I said, okay, yeah, being more involved these days, a lot of parents are not as involved as in years ago. Monitoring them closer. I don't care what your child say. That turn on a location, have some tracking device or something that you then sold in their hair, whatever you got to do, please. And also sitting down, kicking it with your kids. Communication is key. Making sure they're feeling comfortable with you or letting you in on who they be around and things like that. That helps out a lot. Even if they don't want you involved, just stay involved. Just, okay, let me see with this and that. I think that checking their social media. A lot of these kids these days, they are coming up missing. A lot of it is linked to social media as well. People trying to lure these kids, things like that. And then we're not monitoring their stuff. Of course, we're not monitoring 24/7. But if we let them know, hey, I'm all up in your business at any time, then that may also help as well. And then who is this and who is that? And digging into who people are. Because you got people that...
That sounds good to prevent them from coming up missing. But once they come up missing, what can we as a community, as a race, do to help change the narrative?
Well, I will say what I liked about, rest in peace, my cousin Robert Lewis, when he was out here and he had It Takes a Village, y'all. And he was actually out here, kicking in doors and everything else to go and find these kids and missing women and everything. If we can continue to get that going, because I talked to my cousin Lily, his sister, and she's like, I wish that we could just continue with that, because my cousin Robert was straight into finding these kids and protecting these kids, and I think that's what we need. If we become that village again, then I believe that it will make a huge impact, a huge positive impact on finding our kids or preventing this from happening. So yeah, the village, it takes us to get together, to quit talking about it, just, oh yeah, and I wish this and I wish that, whatever and stuff, and actually fucking do something. Let's all just get together, like for real. If we all just really just get the fuck together and protect these kids, we will have a better outcome, I believe. It's us.
What do you think we could do as a community, as a race, once the child is missing, to prevent the stereotype, the dismissiveness, the lack of urgency? What can we do as a community or as parents of missing children to keep police and press engaged? So in the time and era that we are in now,
social media is everything.
It's powerful.
If we can post jokes and we can repost memes and we can repost, then we can repost these kids that are missing. One of my friends, all day, every day, she posts nothing but missing kids. I'm like, girl, where are you finding all these missing kids? And she says, I go on, and she says, and I don't care what state they are, she said, I repost them. There is power in numbers. It's nothing wrong. It won't hurt you to share that missing post. Because right now, social media is a powerful tool.
It is.
It is.
Now, we got to come together. Once again, it's the village.
That's right.
The village. Listen, the clear folks, well, if they dog is missing, baby, they going to send it up on every site that they can.
On the Ring app, everywhere.
Everywhere. And they going to have that dog returned in 24 hours.
That's right.
If we could do the same thing for our children of color, we would be unstoppable. It's about us coming together as a community. We do everything.
That's right.
You walk by and we don't pay attention to, we're so busy in our phones, we don't pay attention to what's going past us.
Right.
Somebody could be making that help sign.
And you not, and then what I want people to understand is they have a sign, they have a symbol now. If you walk in and the child needs help or is in distress, there's some kind of, oh my God, there's some kind of hands, I forgot to do it. There's some kind of signal.
Something like that.
Yeah, and to let you know that they are in trouble and that they need help. We need to learn that.
We do.
So we need to be more vigilant. So in order to get people, and it shouldn't be this way, but we have to be more vigilant about caring if we want the press to care. Right. If we want, just like with the Naziah Harris thing, that thing just hit social media so hard to where the press had to get involved. Now the police got heavily involved. Now we got people arrested and prosecuted, right? The whole thing with the boys hit social media. Now the press is involved. Now it's just people being vigilant and using the platform that is being used to lure them.
Yep.
And so, like,
Yep.
shout out to New Era and Detroit 300 because they be on it.
Yeah.
Zeke and them be on it. You know, and my thing is like, okay, but as us, we're all sitting at the table. When the next child comes up missing, what are we gonna do?
That's right. Can we also
share the post?
All right, I'm gonna get the call-in number up here for you all, please. And I see, I want to thank everybody that I see that's on here. Hey, cousin Robin. I see Patricia. Hey, Pat. I see you left a comment. Want to read that real fast. We got Jean PJ. That's Patricia. My youngest constantly ran off no matter what I did. I called police all the time on her. I begged them to help me with her. Nothing they could do, they said, except bring her home, and she would just keep doing it. And as we were speaking and talking about the different things and what we think we should do, and she's like, girl, I did all that. Patricia, if you up to it, call in, kick it with us.
Yeah, it's kind of, as parents, sometimes your hands are tied. It's like you're trying to reach out to the resources,
Right.
but the resources are not giving you the support. So then what do?
Right.
You know?
So
I mean, no, you don't give up.
You don't give up.
Concede, but what do you do?
And see, the law.
Everybody wants to say what a parent shouldn't do. What can they do?
What can they do?
So the law is totally against a parent that child has run away, right? So my child kept running away. And then he did something. And then there's a law in Michigan now that if your juvenile child does something like go bust the windows out of the police station, you have to pay for those windows, right? So the only way that you can get from up under that is you have to go down to the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice and file papers of incorrigibility, which would basically say that you no longer want your kid, you give up the rights to your kid because you don't want to be financial, right?
Exactly. And like you said earlier, that's there is again how they more and more want us
divided.
All right. I have one other story I want to share with you guys. I want to play the news clip first before I get into it.
Okay.
The mother of Alicia Fox is brave and strong, but every day she's dealing with tremendous loss. In June of 2014, Alicia was found murdered, discovered in an abandoned home in Detroit on Penrod Street. Alicia's husband is behind bars for the heinous crime.
He said nothing, sitting there with a very narcissistic behavior, and he said nothing.
And you believe that he's the one who knows what happened to these children?
I believe that.
Alicia and her young children, little Kayla Hunter and baby Christian Justice, went missing around the time their mother did, but have yet to be found.
So this is my cousin and her two children. She was murdered back in May of 2014 by her husband. We have a call.
Hello.
Hey, it's Patricia.
Hey,
Patricia.
Pat.
Hey.
You wanted to share?
Oh, she's an adult now. She's now going to be 27 actually Monday. She's getting better. She was my problem child, but I did everything that, all your suggestions, spent time with her, did things with her. It didn't matter. We lived down in downriver at that time in Brownstown. I've called the police several times on her. I worked the day shift while she's at school. She's been kicked out of school.
What did the police do?
Nothing but bring her back. And that's all they said they could do. I even asked them to put her into juvie, just to give her a taste. I mean, eventually she ended up there for a little while, and she ended up in a girl's home. But it took a long time for them to help me like that. It's like I was begging them. What do I do? I've done everything.
So every time they brought her back, how did you handle it? I mean, how did she end up in juvie or the girls' home?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember, so long ago. I think she did something in school that was against the policies, but it's so long ago, and I have problems with my memory to remember that. But yeah, she just got in with the wrong crowd of people, and I was going through a divorce at the time, and she just became really angry about all of that. So I think maybe that, was a part of it. But, she's been in counseling. They've had her on medication to try to help her. It's just like everything I've tried, nothing worked.
So you reached out for help. They kept bringing her back. You got no support. You got no intervention until she did something that was disallowed or illegal and ended up in juvie.
Yep, at the school.
That's a sad case of affairs, right? You reach out, just as these people say they reached out for help for these boys many a times through various agencies. And what do you do when the system fails you?
Right.
Broken. Yeah, I was going to say that. It's like our system is just so broken, and they just need to change that.
So you feel like collectively as a whole, the system just don't care about none of our kids, like just not.
I don't think they do.
Okay.
No, I mean, I've taken her to counseling. I've been in the sessions with her.
Okay.
So I've done everything I could do as a mother.
But you said ultimately, eventually, she turned it around, right?
She's doing a lot better. I mean, she still has her problems. She's been diagnosed with severe bipolar. She has anxiety issues, so she suffers from anxiety. And back then she had ODD, which is opposition defiance disorder.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. So she struggled with that, and she did as a really young adult, older teen. She struggled.
So what do you say to people who's like, well, if you can't control them, then put them in a facility? What do you say to people who say that? Put them in a mental health. Are there any mental health facilities
I've tried.
out?
The sixth floor of Hustle Hospital.
That's about it. And receiving.
And they can't hold them as long as they used to.
It's only 1 week.
She's even cried, I'm going to kill myself. I turned her in for that, because I was scared for her. But then while we're in the hospital, a couple of times she's done this, and she tells them, No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
because
gonna
all
do
you
that.
got to do is meet with the psychiatrist, tell the psychiatrist, no, I'm not going to hurt myself, and they turn you right back away and
Turn
send
you
you right
loose.
back
Yep.
home.
That's true.
You have to tell them, yes, I feel suicidal, for them to put you on a 72-hour hold.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Patricia, do you feel like if you had resources on more of support groups and things like that for this type of thing, would that help you, or would you be interested? Because I am willing to find some for you, and I would definitely send it your way.
Well, she's 27 years old now.
She
Okay.
grown.
Oh
That's,
yeah.
that's when she was a child.
Yeah.
You know, but there was a time that, you know, like I said, she got in with the wrong crowd. I don't know if you remember when that fake weed came out. What did they call that?
K5.
K2.
Yeah.
Yeah, K2,
K2.
Yeah.
K2. And I came home one time and she was just acting really weird. And then all of a sudden, I told her to go up in my room because I was trying to take her, you know, she ran off. Right. And I told her, give me your phone. And here she is reaching for her phone and then handing me an imaginary phone. And I'm like, no, Faith, give me your phone. She reaches back in her back pocket and gives me an imaginary phone. You know, so I knew something was not right. That's when I had her go upstairs. I said, go in my room and sit on my bed and wait for me. I get upstairs right after her, and she's seizing on my bed. I had to call the EMS on that. You know, I mean, like I said, I've called, I've asked for help, and these are some of the things that have happened.
Well, we appreciate you calling and sharing your story, Pat. Like that, it just goes with what we're saying. Like, you can reach out and you can do all these things, and it's not until they get out there and get involved in something illegal that you finally get the resources and help that you need.
Yeah.
So thanks for
it's
calling.
sad.
We appreciate you.
No problem.
Thank you, sister.
Thanks.
Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
sharing.
Love you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I love you, Pat.
Yeah, can you put the baby's pictures back up there? So Alicia was supposed to go to her daughter's kindergarten graduation. She and the kids never showed up. So then that prompted the family to go to the house. Once they got to the house was completely cleaned out, bleached out, no furniture, no nothing. Everybody's belongings gone. So they knew something was wrong. Ultimately, they reported it to police, but the family, went out there, organizing searches in this and going inside of abandoned buildings, and they ended up finding her in the basement of one of the abandoned buildings.
Right.
But the family had to do this. This is what I'm saying. Like, you have a woman and her 2 kids that have not been seen, and the family is concerned, and it's like we have to be the ones out here as foot soldiers to find our own babies, to find our own children. Right. Unfortunately, Kayla and Christian have yet to be found. It's been 10 years. Kayla would be 16 and Christian would be 10. 11. He was 7 months, so as of this month, he would be 11 years old. But if you've seen them, he fled to Georgia, so it could be in the Georgia area. That's where he was found and apprehended. But, wherever, if you see any sightings of them, please reach out to the Detroit Police Department or the Center for Missing and Exploiting Children. We're going to go around the table and go ahead and wrap this up. What are your final thoughts, Tat?
My final thoughts are, village, let's get back together. That's all it is. Yes, we have our prayer, we have our faith, we have our high hopes, but let's actually get together and actually get out here and work together and protect these kids and find these kids. It takes a village, y'all.
Takes a village.
Sister G.
Yes.
What's up? What's your final thought?
My final thoughts are that I'm just going to piggyback off of what Tat said. Like, it takes a village.
That's right.
Our kids, Wonder Twin Powers, our kids are missing, and the others are not going to help us.
Yeah.
There is no Savior. There is no Calvary. We have to be the Calvary.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see that kid that's out there, or you just think like, hey, I just saw that kid, then y'all need to dial the number, 1-800-THE-LOST. It takes a village. If you see something, say something.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Miggity Mac, your final thought.
Hey, if we don't do it, who will?
Ooh.
Ooh.
And even if they don't, we have to be on their heads. You know,
Yes.
document every time you've reached out. Document and be very vigilant and be persistent. I mean, don't let the case go cold.
That's right.
They can sit up and, you know, say, well, we haven't gotten any tips. Then let's get out there and try to elicit some more tips.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we can't let the cases go cold. Just like they said, we have to do our due diligence, one, to protect our children, but also to find our children.
That's right.
Because they're ours.
That's right.
And utilize the biggest tool in the world right now, which is social media.
Media.
Utilize it. That's how a lot of people have been found. That's how a lot of pressure has been put on the press as well as law enforcement to act. So use it, and use it. And we out.
Oh, yeah.